Hi, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. Today's subject is how to do Japanese-style cast-ons on Passap machines. They're not in the manual, but it doesn't mean you can't do them. And knowing this will greatly expand the possibilities for enjoying your Passap. When filming on the Passap, it's tricky to get things into a position where you can see clearly and I can still work. So I'm going to review with the camera in this new closer angle. We're doing the basic E-wrap cast on, working from right to left with yarn that is pulled through the eyelet and with the needles all the way forward as you would on a Japanese machine. But we're never going to ask the lock to knit these needles back from here because they won't do it. They'll just jam into each other. So I'm E-wrapping. You're across the machine from me where my yarn would be. And now I'm placing the piece of yarn into each needle hook successively and pulling it back through the E-wraps. And when we get done, we'll have a completed cast on. All we have to do is remove the slack from the yarn, and the lock should knit it with the black strippers, no problem. I'm working with the beds dropped down. Of course, you're going to put them back up in their normal position to actually work. That was the plain E-wrap. Now let's try the double E-wrap. Loop goes on the first needle, tail goes between the beds, under 2, over 1 needle into the hook of the first needle. That did not need to pull back. Under 2, over, close the latch and pull back. This is the double E-wrap cast on, so named because it goes around a double set of needles. And it also produces a complete stitch ready for the lock to knit. And finally, let me find a latch tool, and we'll do the latch tool or chain stitch cast on. Making chain stitches around every needle shank. How I would normally really do this is like this, with my chaining hand above the needles and my yarn holding hand below the needles. Much easier than what I was doing, but I'm afraid that I block your view to some extent. And again, the lock won't knit from this position, but it is not a problem if we manually place the yarn in the hooks and pull each stitch back. And that will result in a row of complete stitches that will work fine. Of course, acrylic and wool are easier to do than cotton. That's true pretty much all the time. But you can make this work.